All right, welcome everybody. This is Florian Diekman. He's our librarian in the College of Food, Agricultural, Environmental Sciences, and he also has an agronomy background, PhD, so he knows our field very well from both the science and also the library sciences. And I had him talk to students many times because uh, the library, learning the library website and how to find resources maybe is different. I always learn something from every presentation Florian provides and gives to us. So appreciate you taking the time to do that. Um, Florian is also available year round. They're working remotely as well. And he's a good resource for doing library searches. There's also a library on the Worcester campus too, a librarian there. So I'll turn it over to Florian then, and he can share his screen and go over his information. So thanks, Florian.
Yeah, well, thank you for, let me see what I can share the screen. Thank you for having me. Thank you for the kind words of introduction. And I'm really happy to be here today and talk to you about the library resources. We have worked all summer to get everything ready for fall semester. We have done other things too in the summer, not just that, but we really worked hard in the libraries to get everything ready for fall semester. Now you are in the grad school, and welcome to grad school, I should probably say. This is an exciting time, and I hope we in the libraries can be a trusted partner while you are in grad school and even beyond. So I think you will see that you will use information and knowledge and resources in a different way. You will do more independent work. You can pursue what really interests you from a research perspective. And I think there's also probably often expectation that you just figure out how things work and how to find things on your own. So hopefully we can be part of that. We often joke that you can get through grad school without setting a foot in the library, and it may actually become truth if this situation that we are in right now continues. So what I want to do is, this is an orientation, so you will not, I will not make you an expert searcher after that, but I will give you hopefully a couple of ideas and a couple of resources that you can use. And then when it comes, when you actually starting and working on research and you need resources, or you struggle to get the resources you need, then hopefully you remember and you reach out to me. So and I'm not alone. So I'm, as Monica already mentioned, I'm head of the Food, Agriculture and Environmental Science Library, which is here on the Columbus campus in the Agriculture Administration Building. And we will talk about the sort of the location-bound services in a minute. But then we also have a library in Worcester. So if you're working on the Worcester campus, or you might have a faculty or an advisor that works on the Worcester campus, he may or she may just send you to the library, or it may just send you to Gwen Short, and that is my colleague on the Worcester campus, and she's a great resource as well. And we often coordinate things, and we talk about things. So if don't be irritated if Gwen get pulled in, or vice versa in some of the requests you might have. We also have a number of other subject librarians. We have Jessica Page, who is head of the Veterinary Medicine Library, and also the liaison to the School of Environment and Natural Resources. And we have Amanda Reinhardt, who is the Life Sciences Librarian. So we have a team of experts in the library that hopefully can help you wherever you are. And so I guess that's the first thing that I want to get across, that they're real people. So if everything goes well, you may not really need to talk to a librarian. You can, find your ways and access our resources, and that's great. But if you get struggle, or if you have a question, or if you think there's probably a better way of doing this, that might be a moment where you can, reach out to us. And I'm unfortunately not in my office. I've been asked, like all the other faculty librarians to work from home to reduce the density in our locations. So you have to email me, you have to call me, or yeah, I guess email, call me, and then we will go from there and see what you need, and set up maybe a Zoom meeting or some other ways of connecting. It has worked pretty well in spring and summer, so I don't really have concerns with that. But it's it was easier if I was sitting in the library and people could just stop by, or stop by to make an appointment, something like that. So I hope that's the virtual environment will not really create barriers to reach out to us. So I think you can see my, let me know, Monica, if that's true. Can you see my my guide, Plant Pathology? Okay, so, and then this is the library homepage. You can see that. Okay, perfect. So it's working. Okay, so I do have a guide. So everything I'm really talking about today, this is for plant pathology. They're kind of very similar. So there are a number of resource guides. I guess every librarian is creating a research guide, and you can actually, if you're on the homepage and you scroll down a little bit to subject and course guides, that will give you the full list of sort of library guides or resource guides that we created for you. And there's also a list of subject librarians with their assigned areas or liaison responsibilities. So we often show up multiple times in this list. This is Amanda Reinhardt that I mentioned earlier. So, and Jessica Page should be somewhere here as well. There's Jessica, okay. So, so that's one way. And then everything, so I picked the plant pathology guide. I realize some of you is affiliated with the plant health management program. It's a very similar guide, but I have a guide for that as well. And then SENR, we have another guide. Now these guides are just very general. So they kind of highlight, it's a starting point, I guess. It's not everything in there. It's not comprehensive, but just a starting point, and you don't have to take notes about everything. So let's start about talking about the location. So the location, this looks very different this year because of social distancing, we had to, and the budget situation, I guess these are the two most important factors here. So we have to reduce our hours. My budget was cut in half for the student employment. So we only open for 30 hours, Monday, Friday, 10 to 4 p.m. But we're available virtually from 8 to 5 and really beyond on the weekends. So just let me know if you need something and we will get to it right away. So Sarah Chan is the library manager, and then I'm head of the library. So either one is fine. We will just move things around depending on who might be best positioned to help you out with that. So aside from the hours, I think it may not really affect you. I don't know how many of you have been in the CFAES library. I think it's primarily frequented by undergrad students who are looking for high quality study space, and we still do that. It's just much reduced. So we honestly have only 30 seats with social distancing guidelines available. You have to wear a mask. We think it's safe. So we don't know really how it really work, but somehow, I mean, there's ample cleaning materials in there. We will have staff going through twice a day, and then my own staff will go through and clean the high touch areas. So we think it's safe as anything can be in this situation, but there is a serious limitation on what study spaces we can offer. It's really down to 30. So you might want to, it may not work for you. We have the study rooms, the collaborative rooms, and they have been closed for this semester. It's all over the university libraries. So those were really popular rooms for grad students to meet, even if you have small classes. So if this would be all normal, we might have actually been in one of these rooms right now. So this will change. There's no food and drinks in the library. But that's about the study space. In terms of the material, there should not be a much change. So if you need physical materials, honestly, I think most of the materials you will need will be electronically. We will make every effort that we can to deliver this to you in an electronic form. But there might be a book, or there might be a report, or there might be something that's only available in print, and you can, of course, you can have access to them, to these materials. There will be delays depending on where these materials are coming from. It's in our own location. If it's from the FAES collection, it will be very fast and same day or next day as usual. But if it's coming from another location, or if it's coming from Ohio Link, another library in Ohio, or if it's interlibrary loan items, you know, you have to expect delays. It will take long, because at every step we have to quarantine materials depending on where these materials are coming from. You can, but it's the same thing. You go to the catalog, you find the items you need, you put a request, and I will show you an example later, and then you will get an email when it's ready, and then you can just pick it up. It's I think it will be contactless. We're closed this week, so we will open next Wednesday. That will be the first day. So I think we'll be contactless pick up. It's definitely contactless book returns. So you basically just come in, you drop the book you have in a bin, and then that's all you need to do. And then materials will not be checked in. There will be quarantine for 5 days, and then we will check them in after these 5 days, and then they will be backdated. So there will be no overdue items due to the fact that we have to quarantine materials. Now, you probably know more about viruses and working in a research lab and everything than we do in the library. So you might laugh at these 5 days, but that's just you know, what we're told to do, and so we have to go with that rules. Yeah, so that really is about the physics. We don't have course reserves. I'm not sure, this probably will not affect you, but there won't be any course reserves this semester. I think the instructors are aware of that and found ways around that. Computing services is still available. I mentioned the study rooms that won't be available. So feel free to jump in. I should have said at the beginning, if you have questions, if you want me to explain things better, you know, just feel free to jump in. So this is the FAES library. It's called FAES, by the way, because we are, you know, I'm part of the university libraries. So I'm reporting to the dean of the university libraries, where my colleague Wayne Short is actually on the CFAES Worcester campus, or from the CFAES Worcester Campus Research Library. So it's called the CFAES Worcester Campus Library, because administratively Gwen is part of the college. For you, no difference, but just if you wondered why we have this CFAES and then the FAES down here in Columbus, it's unfortunate, but that's just how the names turn out to be. So if you tap the second tab, you get the link to Gwen's website, and then you have a picture here of Gwen. So really, either one of, you know, if you have questions, concerns, either one will be happy to help you out. Just to make sure that you know that there's and the Worcester Library, I don't know whether any of you is actually based on the Worcester campuses. No one, okay. They work a little bit differently because they're smaller, and you actually you get your own key and you can let yourself in the library, which we cannot do here in Columbus, unfortunately. But you will find out should you ever be up there. So that's about the location. So there will be some changes, but I think for the most part, it should not affect you other than the limitations in the study space and access to the study rooms. I think what's really the most important thing in general, but particularly in this environment, is to make sure that you have, you know, how to you know, connect to our license resources. So in most cases, students, staff, faculty, most questions we get have really to do with authentication problems, or most questions when we get something doesn't work, or I cannot get to this article, or why do I have to pay for this? It's usually an authentication problem. So I want to make sure that you know the different ways they can use to to access our materials if you are off campus, which I think most of you probably will be in some form or the other. So that is really important. But again, if you cannot get access, if something doesn't work, if you ask to pay for a resource, you should never pay for anything. You already paid for it to your student fees. So you should not pay again, right? So we will make this right. So it could be a problem on our end. It could be that you fail to authenticate on for some other reason. It could be that we don't have access, in which case we can escalate this to interlibrary loan and get you a copy. But let's talk about the different ways of getting you off-campus access. So the first one is, and I should have asked, how many of you have been here as an undergrad student? Do we know? Oh, all new? Okay. Oh, okay, great, good. Well, wonderful. So because sometimes this is, I'm there, you've heard this already, but this is new. So, okay, off-campus sign-in, very important. The first way to do this is if you're on the library homepage, and I sent you the link in the chat to the library homepage, library.osu.edu. And this is not the homepage. Go back here, and then I have to move this. You will see this message is, you will see this off-campus sign-in on the top right. And I haven't signed in for this session because my computer crashed. So I've been signed out. So you use the off-campus sign-in. So you have to navigate to the library homepage and you just use the off-campus sign-in. You log in with your name, .number, and your password. And then this button should turn green, if you can see it. Okay, so that's the off. That means you're proxied in, so you should have access to all the resources. And if you keep that window, that session open, and you don't close the browser, you should be able to navigate even away from the library website. It doesn't work in all cases, but in most cases, if you end up with a journal website or a vendor website, or even Springer link or something, a Springer book you want to access, it should work. You can always navigate, and this is the safest way, you can always navigate through the library catalog, and we'll talk about this a little bit shortly here. And then if you access an electronic resource, you then have the option of using the on-campus or off-campus link. It doesn't really matter, so it will detect if you're off-campus, and then will force you to go through the proxy. So that the library website should always work. Yeah, it should. Okay, so that's the first one. The other thing you can do if you're using Chrome, there is this little extension, the off-campus sign-in extension. You can go to the Chrome store and install that. There are bookmarks that you can use for the other. In my guide, there are some links to these, so you can install if you use Firefox or Internet Explorer. You can get the same thing. So you have this here. You just need to click. You don't need to navigate to the library homepage. You just click on this one. You sign in, and then you should be good to go. The other thing, I think this is highlighted in my guide, you can use the proxy link directly. So if you have a favorite database or a journal article, like a journal or an ebook resource or something that any vendor, I guess, that you want to that you want to use without going through the library homepage. It doesn't work always, but in most cases it works. So you can use this link just in front of the URL. So here's an example for the Scopus database. So just copy that proxy link in front of the whatever vendor's URL you have, and then you sign in, and then you should be good to go. So that's if you like to bookmark things and you don't want to go through the library homepage. So that's the three options, and here's the link to the bookmarklet. So if you use Firefox or Safari or Internet Explorer or Google Chrome, how to get this off-campus sign-in into your browser. Another option, I will talk about this later on if you use, and I highly recommend that you're thinking about using this. If you haven't done this already as an undergrad student, this is citation management tools or software. like Zotero or EndNote or Mendeley. If you use Zotero, which is really nice, it comes with, it's an open source product, it's free, very popular, and you might be familiar with that already, but it comes with the Zotero connector. And the Zotero connector that lives, again, as a browser extension, it has an option to set the proxy. So if you enable proxy redirection, it will actually automatically pick this up. So it kind of observe what you're doing. So it notices that you're affiliated with this institution, and then it will just find this proxy on its own. You can just copy it in here too, but it will find it on its own. And then if you keep Zotero running, so that means if you have installed here, it's always running, then it will detect that this is a licensed resource, and you probably want to go through the Ohio State proxy to connect to that resource. And you will see this, maybe we see this popping up later in the session, you will see this yellow bar coming up, and it will indicate that it just went to the proxy. It doesn't work for all cases, but it works in many, many cases. So you have multiple ways of navigating to, to our licensed resources from off campus. One word: if you use the VPN, it will not do anything for you in terms of off-campus sign-in. So this is a very different thing, and actually, it could harm you. I've been I think we solved that issue, but it used to be if you're VPN and you're kind of pretending you're on campus, right? And then you log in, use off-campus sign-in, and you're coming from an IP address abroad in my case, and then it detected some fraud, and then it shut me off. I think this has been resolved, but the VPN, so all faculty are saying, I'm on the VPN, how can I not connect? Yeah, it's not the same as the off-campus sign-in. So I just want to pause here, or maybe I can talk about the Google Scholar since we're talking about this here. If you're using Google Scholar, I know you probably will want to make sure that you have your library settings right, and that's let me see if I can show this. So you go to the to this menu bar here, and then settings, and then there's the library links, okay? And then you have to make sure that the Ohio State University Libraries find it OSU is checked. So if you do it the first time, you probably don't see it, so you have to search for it. Make sure you find it, check the box, and then you save that. And now if you do a search, you see soybean rust. I thought I read you're recruiting a soybean pathologist right now. Is this correct? I think so, yeah. So soybean rust, okay, so you will see the find it button right here. And that is your way to link from Google Scholar to our licensed resources. Now, in this case, you could also go right to the PDF because it's probably an open access article. But then if you scroll down, you probably find something like here, this one, it will not, it doesn't have the PDF. So first step is it links to our database, and then it should resolve. Oh, I get an error. Okay, it's probably some error in the, probably something wrong in the DOI. Maybe it doesn't have a DOI in here, but usually that links. So that's an example where not everything is working. Okay, so in this case, you could either navigate, find crop science journal in the catalog, and then just navigate to this issue. Or you could just try and see if you do a title search. Let me see. Sometimes if you can just go here, since I use the off-campus sign-in. Yeah. Okay. So it redirects you to Cat Director. Okay, I see what that issue is. Okay, and then you should be. Okay, it loads very slowly. It should resolve, and then it should get you to the full text of that article, because I know we have, so here it is. Okay, so it takes a little bit. That is, okay. Okay, Good. So if for whatever reason, if we do not have a subscription, or if that what you're looking for is only available as in a print, in a physical copy, so you only have a print copy and it may sitting in our location, or we don't even have the book. And so either way, we have this service called Article Express. It's a part of interlibrary loan services. So, and here's a little video that you have to register, which is free, of course, and then you can just use the Article Express to basically request any article that that you cannot find or cannot get access to. If we have a subscription, or if it's available somewhere, they will probably send you a note and say, you know, it's available from here. But in most cases, they will just send you the PDF. If it's something that we have, because it's an older, you know, we often have archives that going back to the first issue, but sometimes for some journals we don't, and then in which case you don't want the hard copy, you want the PDF, and so we go and scan the article for you. So we will decide whether we need to borrow it from where, whether we need to purchase it, or whether we need to actually go to scan it. And actually, it's for us, it's faster and cheaper if we go to another location, library. So we have a consortia, the Big Ten, for example. We have borrowing privileges and lending privileges with them. So we will go first and see whether any of the Big Ten consortia has that article. So we don't even bother going in our stacks and putting that and scanning them. If we know one of our partners have access, we will get it from there. And so if that is the case, you will see things in, you know, within a few hours, usually 24 hours at the most. If you have to go and scan it, it can take a little bit longer. And right now, with the quarantine requirements, depending on where this is, it can take longer. So, but that shouldn't, you know, just if you have a correct, you know, make use of this interlibrary loan option if you know, if you need to. Those of you who are not on campus and don't have access to campus, I have a few notes here how to get materials. So one way is to have it sent to another Ohio Link library if you have one nearby. But if you are, if you're not nearby and you don't know how to get these materials, you know, just let me know, and I can UPS things and just send it to you. Also, if you're not located in Ohio, or if your research requires you to be abroad and you need access to material, you know, we were happy to send you materials. So just contact me if you need. There's a few things we have to consider when we do that. Well, there's spent a lot of time on the off-campus access. Are there any questions that I could answer? Let's see, I probably should monitor the. Oh, maybe no questions. Okay. Okay, so so I'm going to talk a little bit about the library catalog, and then I talk about you know, some of the other. I think most of the resources you're actually needing are databases and defining research articles. So I will just breeze through the library catalog. So we have the OSU library catalog. We have the Ohio Link catalog. So the Ohio OSU library catalog, that's all we have. So either we own or we have access to. It should have everything in there. Sometimes we're missing things, but for the most part, everything is in there. So if you need a book, or if you an ebook, doesn't matter, or a video, a movie, or something like that, or you know, any other item, then the library catalog is where you want to look for that. If you want to find out whether we have access to a journal or